Good morning. This is KELOLAND on the go with all you need to know in news and weather as you start your day.
An investigation is underway this morning in Scotland, South Dakota. The Attorney General's office confirms that the DCI is investigating a body found Tuesday in Scotland.
Officials aren't releasing many details, but Attorney General Marty Jackley says he does not believe the public is in danger. Stay with KELOLAND for any updates both on air and online.
A program through the USDA, which provided funding for Feeding South Dakota to purchase food from local producers, has been cut. Feeding South Dakota CEO says the organization won't lose too much from the cut, as it made up only about 1% of their food programming, but it will be felt by the 22 producers that Feeding South Dakota was buying from.
The program was awarded $1.2 million in 2025, which will end in June. The funds had been paid to the South Dakota Department of Ag and Natural Resources and dispersed through Feeding South Dakota.
While this specific program is only a small part of Feeding South Dakota's programming, they say 30% of their food is purchased through USDA funding, making potential future cuts of high concern.
You can hear more from Feeding South Dakota and a KELOLAND.com original by Jacob Newton.
Dry and windy conditions are favorable ingredients for grassland fires. It's why Yankton County officials are asking people to refrain from open burning.
The current conditions don't allow emergency management to issue a burn ban, but they say the risk for grass fires to spread uncontrollably is still possible.
If anybody out there has been burning over the past couple of weeks, few weeks or whatever, we just ask you to go out and make sure that it's not smoking, that it's not smoldering.
If you can still see burning embers or feel heat, those are both indicators that a burn pile may not be all the way out. Now let's get a check of our forecast with meteorologist Scott Munn. Warming up today, Scott.
We'll have a warm day today. Temperatures in the 60s for afternoon highs. If not in the 60s, then the upper 50s can be expected. As we'll have 59 degrees in Watertown, 60 today in Aberdeen, 64 in Sioux Falls and Pierre, and 65 with stronger southeast winds in Rapid City. Brian will have more details on your forecast coming up.
Thank you, Scott. March is Women's History Month, which means we are highlighting women each week as part of our Remarkable Women competition.
This week's nominee is Melissa Fixdahl. She became a lawyer despite having children when she decided to go to school and having dyslexia.
Most people don't think that attorneys are helpers and are helpers like a nurse or other people can be, or a teacher, but I believe that we are. I love to work with clients, figure out their stories, help them get to a better place in life. It's just one of the most exciting things in the world to see people do better.
While she accomplishes a lot in her job, she says her children are her greatest achievement.
We'll continue to highlight Remarkable Women nominees throughout the month and announce our winners on April 1st.
The South Dakota Percussion Showcase is set for Saturday at Brandon Valley High School.
The annual competition will showcase 19 groups from across South Dakota and Minnesota, including percussion, color guard, and brass and woodwind groups.
It will be a variety of concert percussion groups that are performing what you might expect more at a band concert, and then the more of marching percussion theater, where they're performing a show, or same idea with a color guard, they're performing some sort of theme or aesthetic idea, and essentially relaying that through art and through the medium of marching and performing music.
The competition begins at 3 p.m. Saturday at Brandon Valley High School. Tickets are $12 for adults and $6 for students, while kids ages 5 and under are free.
We provided a link with a complete schedule under this story on KELOLAND.com.
The 45th annual St. Patrick's Day Parade is this Saturday in downtown Sioux Falls. The parade takes off at 2 p.m. at 13th and Phillips.
A wet and windy storm system is expected to move through the area on Saturday, but the festivities should carry on.
For those, participants, we might be walking a little bit faster if it's a little chilly on this Saturday, but no, it's still going to be a great time.
Sean Clary is this year's Grand Marshal.
He served on the St. Patrick's Day extravaganza for the past 16 years, serving as chair for a majority of those years.
That's a look at some of our top stories.
Now let's get another look at your forecast with meteorologist Brian Karstens. Brian?
All right, a lot to track there by the weekend, but in the upfront forecast today, very, very pleasant. We've got middle 60s in the outlook this afternoon in Sioux Falls. Abundant sunshine, so feeling very, very nice for this time of the year. Tomorrow, well, we're going to crank up those temperatures even more, but also with that, low humidity, more wind. We're going to have a fire weather watch. That's in effect west of Sioux Falls. Extreme fire danger, so please be careful on this whole subject, as we have had to deal with these conditions several times already, late winter into the early spring. And it's obviously going to be a factor there tomorrow afternoon. Let's dive into details now. Here's Futurecast hourly updates. You're going to see your widespread 60s this afternoon from Rapid City to Sioux Falls and all the way north to Aberdeen. We're looking at overnight tonight, mainly dry conditions, a mild start to Thursday, and that is going to set in motion temperatures into probably record territory. We'll be doing some digging through the archives here on this, but it looks like Sioux Falls likely will be near 75 tomorrow afternoon. 77 degrees in Mitchell, 77 also in Winter. So that goes along with that fire weather watch we just mentioned. Into Friday, well, we're still ahead of this storm system, a Colorado low coming out into the plains, and this is going to have the classic features with it. A lot of warm air moving up ahead of it, so it looks like this thing will sprout some rain chances Friday. Most likely, though, for Sioux Falls would be Friday night. We're expecting kind of a spoke of thunderstorm development to be sprouting here east of the low Friday late afternoon and Friday night. And there is a risk of severe weather just to the south and east of Sioux Falls Friday evening. So we will watch the development. We always keep track of the position of these storms and how these ingredients come together. But at this point, it looks like the main part of this for eastern South Dakota will be Friday late night and into the first part of Saturday. And that'll be rain and mixing with and probably changing to some snow. It is too early to say how much snow, because obviously we're dealing with a lot of warm air on this storm. And it's moving along too. So, speed, that's another factor here. We don't necessarily have to deal with this all day Saturday, but a big chunk of it probably will be impacted by wind, rain to snow. So sloppy, wet, wind-whipped snow on Saturday. That's kind of our thinking there in eastern Ketherland. Now, don't forget, this system's moving out, so even on Sunday, the weather forecast is getting better, and we think mild weather returns early next week. In fact, here's a little interesting side note to the 7-day forecast. I was just perusing the newest data on Monday. We already have a scenario that takes us from 70s on Friday to 30s on Saturday. Maybe we hit the 40s or low 50s Sunday, depending on how much snow we get. That's to be determined. But Monday, the European model is already trying to give us 70-degree weather in parts of South Dakota. And then, of course, that leads to the next storm that gets here midweek. So I guess the weather is deciding to wake up a little bit. Hibernation season is over, and we're into more busy conditions in the Midwest. We'll put it that way. Aberdeen in the Northeast, 60s and 70s ahead of the storm. Again, there'll be some rain, there'll be some wind, and there'll be probably some snow trying to push through northeast South Dakota Saturday. It will not last. We are going to go back to mild weather next week, and I'm all in favor of Monday, Tuesday. Let's keep that idea on the table that we have to up those numbers as we get into the extended forecast. So Rapid City, remember, you're not in the bullseye for the moisture. I think there'll be some of it Friday, a lot of wind, but the heaviest part of the storm will likely go East River on this one. Check out more details at KETHLELAND.com.